How did being a patient change you as a doctor? That's the question.
Sort of coincidentally during that time period where I was kind of going through all those tests, I had some classes that Kaiser sort of forced me to take. They sort of encourage all the new doctors to take. And
As a doctor, not as a
doctor,
patient.
exactly. And it really changed my perspective, not just about the doctor-patient relationship, but about just relationship in general. And it was a course on empathy and how to express it. So you have to do both. You have to first have empathy, where
What does that mean to you?
you care about what the other person is feeling. And it doesn't mean that you can fix their bad feeling. It simply means that you care about their feelings, what they're feeling at the time. And then the second part, and this is the part that I think I also have a lot of trouble with, is how to express the fact that you care. Because you can care all you want. If they don't know that you care, then it may not matter that much. And so to kind of find the vocabulary, and as well as kind of the willingness to be vulnerable and
As the doctor.
to express empathy, when I was the patient, I realized how important that actually was. So it would have made a world of difference to me if, for example, in those early days when the tests came back normal, when they said, "Yeah, listen, all the tests came back normal, and we can't find anything that's wrong," and my reaction to that was, "Yeah, but I still have all of these problems." Mm-hmm. It would have meant a lot to me if they stopped and said something to the effect of, "Wow, I'm really sorry about what you're going through. And it must be hard to have those symptoms." I mean, imagine how hard it is to have those symptoms where, you might be pooping in your pants, or you can't go to certain things or do certain things or make commitments because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And to just acknowledge that, wow, you're going through, as a human being, you're going through a really difficult time. And yes, it doesn't solve the problem, but it actually helps me feel like they understand what my concern is, even if we can't fix it. Versus when I say, "But I still have all these problems," some of the doctors, essentially what they said was, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?"
Not my problem.
Right. Like, I've done all I can, and so now
Scope's
it's
negative, you're not
time
getting
to-
these meds.
Yeah, it's time to move on.
See you later.
But I can't move on. I don't want to, pull them into my world, which is, I think, what we as physicians might be afraid of. Like, we're going to go down this rabbit hole of neediness, and we can't get out of it. But just the acknowledgement of, wow, this must be really difficult for you. I'm really sorry that you're going through this. Mm-hmm. And I've implemented that in my practice since then. I'm not perfect at it.
Yeah.
But before, I felt like either I had to try to fix whatever it is that they're coming in for, and if I don't fix it, then I gotta figure out a way to get them out without, doing something that I don't want to do, or if it really becomes confrontational, kind of become the guy who says, "What do you want me to do about it? I've done my job. Get out." Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. But instead, there's been so many times when I've sat there and I said, "I'm really sorry what you're going through. And I know that I can't really do much to fix it, but I see how hard it is for you." And it doesn't take almost any time before they say something to the effect of, "Thank you, doctor, I really appreciate that." And then they're good and they leave. Knowing that, they have this issue, I may not be the person to fix it, and they're not upset at me for not being able to fix it because they realize that I can't.
Yeah.
But we made this human connection where I see their suffering, I acknowledge it, and they appreciate the fact that somebody acknowledges and sees their suffering. And it has really changed the way that I interact with a patient. They're not just there for me to give them the treatment or the meds that I can give them, and if I can't give them anything, it's time to just move on. I try to, at the very least, even if I can't do anything at all for them, I try to at least acknowledge their suffering so that they know that somebody cares.
It's like I want you to be my doctor.
I am your doctor.
You were my doctor for a while. I want to say this. I think it's hard for us in those circumstances as doctors, number one, because we're expected to be able to fix everything. People expect that. And I think that's what we want too. That feels the best when you can actually help somebody and cure the disease and put the cast in a, put the fracture in a cast, stitch up the laceration, fix the thing, treat the pneumonia. And when we can't do that, it's really easy to feel inadequate. What's wrong with me as a doctor? I can't fix this. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I don't have the right diagnosis, all this kind of thing. One way to not even go there is just to be like, not my problem. You're not my problem. Like, tests are negative, not my problem.
Yeah.
And you're so right about just the foundational importance of empathy like that. I'm going to listen to you talk about that. It's going to change the way that I practice too. Really will.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes total sense that is one of the ways that your own illness and experience as a patient has changed you as a doctor, for sure.
Yeah. I know it fits in with the perspective you have about doctoring too, because I know that you've shared with me those stories where you're like, I can't do anything for this patient, but you have offered them things that are not necessarily sort of tangible, but I think in offering those things, they feel that, he might not be able to treat the problem I have, but he cares for my suffering.
Yeah, you care.
And he's acknowledging me as a human and my needs.
Yeah.